This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're here in sunny Rotherham today with Dave Coldwell at Coldwell Boxing Gym. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, thanks. And it is actually sunny. I think you've caught us on a good day because we've not seen a lot of sun lately.
I'm so the southern softie that when I come up here, I was like, oh, it's cold, it's really grim up north. I'm the typical southern softie. So, yeah, I hate to come up when it's actually cold then in that case because I was being sarcastic. How are you? How was Christmas and how was your New Year?
Yeah, it was good. It was nice. Nice, quiet Christmas with the family. And then we went away for New Year, so that was nice. But it's good to be back in the gym. I've been itching. January is such a slow month for the boxing game now. So yeah, it's good to be back.
It is a slow month. There's no UK show in January. No major UK show. Apologise to anybody who's on a small hall show. Your show matters absolutely. But yeah, it is very quiet. What apart from the obvious in your training point of view, which we having just watched Hopey Price and Gill have a little shakeout and a workout. What do you do to fill your time in January from kind of a managerial point of view? Is it very much kind of chasing up Eddie and chasing up people on the phone?
Yeah, it's not just Eddie. It's just other fighters that you've got that you're mapping out dates for because you want to get them out, quickly. I've got Callum Beardo boxing on February 8th that I manage on the Kelbrook show. Then I've just signed a light heavyweight prospect from Ireland, big puncher, Paul McCullough. So little bits of excitement like that gets you a little bit of buzz. You get a fighter on a slot on a show, looking to get Temuka Muka out. Probably he'll be on a date in February. So you're doing things like that, and also Christmas and New Year. It's like you've got your. I went away because it's the only break you can have where there's no boxing. But then we all got in January 6th, wanting to get back to work, and that's what you do. You look forward to getting back into the gym. You do bits of phone work, but when the fighters have got a bit of life about them, Jordan got married, so obviously he went away on his honeymoon, and we got the all clear for him to start again training January 6th. That's what we were all looking forward to.
Let's just touch on that because I've just interviewed Jordan, which is available now live on Boxing Social for people who are watching. So he's now been given the all clear. He's given us the exclusive. He had a thyroid issue. Go back, and he said that he'd kind of noticed it creep up on him for a period of time. Were you ever suspicious of something wrong with him?
No, it's difficult because fighters, you can be tired and you just come in and you just do your same stuff that you do in the same manner. It's camp. It's how fighters are. Fighters get tired and you give them a day off. You taper the training down a little bit. But unless you actually know that there's something wrong with you, you just think of it's part of camp. I'm not being funny. Every fighter in the world is tired. Whether it's day one of camp or 8 weeks, 10 weeks into a camp, they're tired. That's the nature of the business. But it's how they feel. If they feel as though they're having to work extra hard to maintain to what they normally are or to push on, but it's very hard. There was nothing really as a telltale until his heart rate started going up, and once his heart rate was going up, then it was like, go and get yourself seen to the doctors. You need to go and see what's going on there. But it's weird because he was just doing what he was doing. But his heart rate was like going up to 220. I was like, well, that's it. Go and get yourself seen to by the doctors. And then obviously had a lot of tests and things like that. And then when he told me what it was or what they thought it was initially, then you start worrying and you're thinking, wow, is he? I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure he was ever going to box again. That's how bad it was. And so people saying, oh, what's happening with Jordan Gill? When's he fighting this? I had to pull him out of the fight that was going to be on, and you can't really say anything because you don't know anything properly yet. And then obviously since we've known, then I've just left it for Jordan to say what the problem is and what in his own time when he feels he's comfortable to talk about it. But it has been a struggle. It has been very, very stressful for him. It's not nice at all. He's a kid that has literally given everything to the sport, lives for it, and gives 100% in every single session, gives 100% in every single S&C session, lives his life outside. I mean, he went on his stag do, he didn't even have a drink. You know, he doesn't drink, he lives, he lives like an athlete and lives for the sport. So for something like this to come on top of what happened last year, we thought, put the defeat to the back of it now. You come back, you've had Italy, you've come back with a good win. Let's bounce on, and then to have to pull out of a date and then go through all this, the not knowing for him, not knowing what's happening, blood test after test after test, and not knowing if you're going to fight again, and if you are, when are you going to be able to fight again? For someone like him who is a gym rat, it's been really, really hard, and it's been hard. It's been hard for me as well because, he's not in the gym. I can't work with him. I don't know what's happening with him. Just not being around. It's been a tough time.
He's cleared now, by all accounts. Obviously, the interview that we just did, he said he's got his medicals coming up. Yeah. When can we realistically expect him to get back in the ring? Because he's obviously not boxed now since September.
No, end of March, I would think. Middle to end of March. Do you know what? He's come back. He's not boxed for about 2.5 months. He's not done any punching for that. Like, that's the longest time he's ever had. And I kind of expected him to be a lot further behind than what he is. He's come back. I let him have 3 days in the gym last week, just movement. Then the last session we just did a little bit of pads. And then this week, I'm gonna let him have 4 sessions again. Keep it nice, and it's just about getting his movement back and not really taking himself out of his comfort zone at all. But we've just been doing pads. The last 2 days we've been doing pads, and he's really good on the pads. You wouldn't think that he's been out so long. You think he's probably been out for a couple of weeks. So I'm happy with that. I expected it to be a lot worse, but we'll just take it steady. And when he feels right and he looks right, then we'll go. But I would guess probably March, middle of March, he'll be ready.
Now, of course, along with these health issues that he's had, the back end of last year, or the second half of last year, obviously saw him take his first professional loss to Enrico Tinoco. Does that mean that when he's coming back, is it not a rebuilding job? Is certainly not what I'm saying, but something kind of like that coming off the back of. I mean, obviously he had the comeback fight in Italy, but he did have his loss before that, and then the health concerns. Are you going to be kind of easing him back in this year? Is that going to be the plan?
So if there hadn't been the health issues, then he would have had that fight in Italy, and then we would have gone into a good international fight, something along the likes of where he was before, because it wasn't because there were issues with the defeat and what have you. It's not a case of all of a sudden, his shit is not good enough at that level. It's not about that. Learn from it, come back. Had your little fights, come back, shake off the webs, and move on. But then, because this is by far a bigger issue than the defeat. So with this, I do want to rebuild, and I do. I'm not talking about forever. I would like a couple of fights back before he has a couple of fights back at a decent sort of level. His first fight just an 8-rounder, and then get a decent fight at 8-10 rounds, and then we'll kick on. I need to make sure that he's not rushed back. He's only young. He's only just 25, so it's not like I've got a clock ticking away. I want to bring him back properly and make sure he's back up to full speed and everything's done right with him, because he deserves that because of what he gives to the sport and the kind of kid he is.
And somebody who is back in the ring, who's got a date, Hopey Price, we've also seen in the gym today, ticking over. So first time I've seen him in the gym, I think a word that will come to mind for me was eager. Seems very eager. Obviously being 19, I think he's still 19, and he's got very fresh-faced, exuberant. What's it like to work with somebody like that?
It's great. He's a good kid. He's genuinely, he's like, him and Jordan are very, very similar. He's just like a younger version, obviously. But they're very easy to knock about with. I've been on training camps to LA with them both, to Dubai with them both, living in their space, and the cool kids, the nice kids. I hope he's just, like you say, he's fresh, he's young, he's eager, he wants to learn, he wants to soak it all up, but he understands it's not a sprint. He understands that it's a long-term plan, and that's where he's got a bit of an advantage on a lot of other young fighters. Because a lot of young fighters want to get to the big money straight away, want to get to the big fight straight away. If they've had success in the ambition, I want to get there quick, I only want a couple of fights, I want to fight. He understands that this is a process, and it's about building him as a fighter, as a professional fighter all round. He understands that building him for 10, 12 round fight now. It's no good just going out there and looking $1 million in a 4-rounder, and so he gets it, and he's great to work with because you show him something, he will work it until he nails it. But what I will say is, Jordan's very quick at picking things up, very quick. But I think Hope is even quicker. He's genuinely, out of everybody I've ever worked with, he picks things up quicker than anybody else. He just literally gets it, and then when he gets it, he understands how to repeat. So yeah, he's great to work with. He really is.
How long realistically can we expect him to be at super bantam? Is that going to be kind of the plan going through? Because he is huge for a super bantamweight.
He's going to go up through weight divisions. He's 19, so my mind is, I haven't signed him as a super bantamweight. No. I've signed him whatever he is. I don't like going against nature when, especially at that age, you're filling out, you're growing. But we have, with the Hope, we've started work with Scott Robinson, who I think is the best nutritionist out there. And he goes through all the tests with Scott, and whatever I'm guided by with Scott, and with how Hope's growth development works with, we'll go with. Right now, he makes that weight easily. I mean, we're coming up to his first fight with Scott as nutritionist. He's done the first two, making it easy, and like eating and drinking all the way up, no problem. He's done the weight. Don't forget, when he was an amateur, he was doing flyweight, I think it was. It's like, how? But he's bigger than what you think. So we'll do super bantamweight as long as it takes. If it's a case of by the time he fights for titles, he's a featherweight. I don't know. We'll see what nature has in store for him.
I mean, he's that big, it wouldn't surprise me to see him at like lightweight in like 26, when he's 26, 27, and he's really started to fill out. One person who's not in the gym, Anthony Fowler.
Yeah.
I was surprised, as many people were, to see the news that you and him will no longer be working together. Tell me a little bit about how that happened.
I just got a text message where it says, can I pop in? Because we were supposed to be starting back on January 6th. It was on the Saturday, I think it was. And he just asked, can I come in at a different time when lads aren't about? So I just want to speak to you. I thought, oh, what's up? So I rang him, and he started, well, that's what's my. I said, you're right. And because he sounded a bit down and whatever. And then, yeah, he just said, I'd rather, I think it's not my place to talk about what he wants to do with his life. But, yeah, he was very open, and, yeah, I respect his decision, and he'll tell you. I think when he wants to, he'll tell you. But yeah, it's personal reasons. He wants to leave the gym. There's no fallout. He's very, very kind in what he said on the phone to me and everything. We're mates. He's kind of like he's seen as kind of like the teenager kid that you've got in the gym. Do you know what I mean? It's a nice kid. We had a good laugh. There's been a lot of CBD banter going on, and I'll miss that. But yeah, there's no fallout, no drama. A lot of people, I think, were shocked, rightly so, because we get on. So it is what it is. Listen, one thing you've got to understand is that fighters have one career, so they have to do what's best for them, be it in the personal life, be it in the professional life. Everything's got to marry together. If you're not happy, and I'm not just talking about when you're training, if you're not happy in your circumstances and you don't feel as though your situation is helping you up here, as your situation is helping you in your heart and in your career, whatever block it is, or a multitude of them, you've got to change. It's no good wasting. I think he's 29 now. He's not got long left in the sport. He's got to do what's best for him, but also he's got a life outside boxing, and you have to cater for that. It's a very hard sport, and he's a kid that's in the limelight. He's under a lot of pressure, whether or not you like to admit to it or not. The social media thing, it brings a lot of it on himself, but it's just his personality. He's not. People care about him whether they like him or not because he's a personality. But with that, it brings a lot of pressure, and so you have to have a release. You have to have an escape, and you have to be happy. And if you're not, you have to change it, because it'll get to you. Either you'll not get the best out of yourself in your career, in your fight situations, or when you're sat at home on your own in some flat, it's going to screw with your mind. So I'm fully supportive of what Anthony's had to choose to do, which is leave the gym, find somewhere else, and I wish him all the best going forward.
Are you surprised? Did it surprise you?
Yeah, because and not talking out of turn, I said to him on the phone, I said, mate, you should have spoke to me. You should have said something. But he's quite a deep sort of person, and he doesn't like to tell people his thoughts, I suppose. And that's what he said to me on the phone. But yeah, I mean, he's been down here, he's been living in digs. He's been in Sheffield for 10 years, he said, and like basically living on his own. And he lived with Jamie for a bit. It's just I think he wants to have a bit of normality in his life as well. So yeah, it was a surprise, but I understand. Well, once you get over oh, really? Okay. But then when he's explaining to you, it's like straight away, mate, you got to do it. 100%. 100% you got to do it. There's no ifs, no buts. You got to do it.
That now, by my count, leaves you with a couple of spaces. Because obviously, 6 months ago, even, I think, around that time, you still had Derek. Derek-Chisora was still part of the team, as was Anthony Fowler. They're now not part of the team. Any plans to bring anybody into the gym?
I've been asked by a few fighters, few managers, promoters to train certain fighters, but so far nobody's excited me as such. Yes, I am open to taking more fighters on. I've always said that 5 is my limit. There was a stage where I had 5 fighters. Back in the day, I had about 12, but then I came out with Ellie with 1, and so just having a couple of fighters in him isn't anything new to me. I just had 1 fighter at one point. So I'm over, as long as I never go over my 5, I'm happy. Right now I've got a couple of spaces. So yeah, it depends on the person. If it's something that excites me, if it's worth my time away from my life, from my family, then it's not just the gym time. It's like when the fighter's got a fight coming up, then you're going away and things like that. So it's got to be worth it to me as well. But yeah, I'm open to it. So we'll see who walks through the doors.
Free advertising there for you on Boxing Social. Not that you need any help advertising, of course.
I've never asked for a fighter to come to my gym and train with me, and I never will do. But if fighters want to ask, then I had no intention of training Fowler. I had no intention of training Hopey Price. But when I met them, they were nice kids, and I thought, yeah, go on then. It is what it is.
I mentioned Derek-Chisora. Now you've had a little bit of time to, I guess, digest the working relationship, so to speak. How do you look back on your time working with Derek?
Derek, it's a good laugh. It's good. Listen, I enjoyed it. It was. It's a big character in it, and it comes with a lot as well. But it wasn't hard work. physically it was hard work. Got 18 stone punching me around the ring, but it wasn't. He wasn't hard work. People expect me to say, "Oh, it was a nightmare. It was this. It was that." He wasn't. I enjoyed working with Derek. His sound. I got on with him really, really well. He was great with my kids. Really good. Honestly, he's a diamond with my kids. My kids absolutely love him. You know, my daughter calls him Uncle Deza. You know, but he is a good guy. Yeah, he's got that switch, but he was always sound around me, and I never had any issues. So I enjoyed that time. Yeah, it was good.
Enjoy working with David Haye again?
I didn't really have much to do with him, to be honest. It was all right. It was all right. It was when we did communicate, it was fine. The whole Hey Bellew thing is just put to one side. It's done. It's in the past. You know what I mean? It's part of boxing. That's it. Yeah, he was sound. And do you know what? He's done a great job for Derek. Because at the time it was like, what's that link up about? But he's done a great job for Derek, and the team that they've got there put a lot of work into it. You know, it's a strange setup. It can be a strange setup, but you know, when you're a coach and you're 170 miles away from the rest of them, it's quite easy to deal with because I'm just here. Just left me to it. You know, I just get on with it. If I'd have been in their gym day in, day out, would it have been as enjoyable? Probably not. But I wasn't. So my experience at that time was great. It was fine.
Boxing breeds strange bedfellows, I think. Just generally. Derek Chisora. Rumours that he's going to be fighting somebody that you know very well.
Yeah.
Mr. Usyk.
Yeah.
You're you know what, out of all of the people, you're probably maybe top 3 people who is probably in a good position to talk about that fight as anybody. So please, please, please do not sit on the fence while I ask you how you would see that potential fight going.
But when you say sit on the fence, that's a hard fight. That is a hard fight. It's a good fight for both men, to be fair. Now, it's a good fight for Usyk because in that fight he will be tested as a heavyweight. Derek can't try and box. He can't box Usyk. He's got to be straight up, rough, raw and rugged. He's got to be a dirty bastard. He's got to be rough as. And added to that, he's actually got to be smart to get in. He can't just, people just, just jump on him, just throw millions of punches. Do you think that Usyk's legs are going to just let you throw millions of punches and just is he just going to stand there and just take shots? No, he's not. Marco Huck thought he was going to do that, and he got absolutely embarrassed. So he can't really do that. He's got to be clever and smart in how he applies the pressure. But he has got to apply pressure, intense pressure. He's got to take the legs away. He's got to smash that body to bits, But at the same time, he's got to avoid what's coming back because Usyk doesn't hit one punch knockout sort of power, but he hits hard enough. He does it hard enough. People are giving him an hard time because of his first fight at heavyweight. That was a long time out of the ring. Didn't know who was going to end up fighting. There was all that sort of stuff going on. And it was his first fight at the weight. He's a very, very intelligent guy. Very, very intelligent guy. So he'll have gone back with his coaches and they'll have learnt from that fight. And they'll adapt from that fight. You look at what he's done all the way through his career. There has been times when he's not looked that great. He makes mistakes. He's this, he's that. He's not as good as what you think. But then he comes back up at another level, and that's what he's capable of doing. It's a very, very tough fight. It's a tough fight for Derek, but it's also, listen, let's not get this wrong. Derek catches him. Derek can do him, 100%. He's in. This is why it's a good fight for Usyk as well because it tests him before he goes in with the real elite of the division. this fight could test him if Derek can get to him to see just how he's built as a heavyweight with these heavyweight punches. Because when Derek lands properly, he lands with good power. But the problem is each month, each year that goes by, Derek's getting older. There's more miles going on the clock, and at some point, the stand's gonna run out, and he's not gonna be able to do what he wants to do. He's looked well in his last couple of fights, so that's good. He's living cleaner and healthy, putting the right things in his body to get the best out of his body. Is it enough against Usyk? I don't know.
Is there an element from your perspective as a coach, obviously having had Tony Bellew box at Usyk, you've just spoken about kind of how Derek would need to approach that fight. Can't box him. Obviously, styles make fights, but would there have been, or is there an element of you that would have quite fancied an opportunity of taking a different fighter completely and a different style and trying to use that to beat Usyk from kind of your coach's point of view?
To help Derek, yeah. From a coach's point of view, no.
Why?
I'm a big fan of the Usyks. I really am. I think I always have been before Tony boxed him, because Tony was the one that put me onto him as an amateur and said, "You want to watch this guy? He's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the one." So I've watched him a lot, and then watched him throughout his cruiserweight, obviously, and then when it comes to preparing for Tony, and it kills me that, because I'm a big fan of Usyk, and I'd love to get a photo with Usyk, but I can't bring myself to get a photo with a man that did that to one of my fighters. So I've seen Bellew having pictures with Usyk all the time, but I still can't do it. But he's one of my favourite fighters. But when Derek was here, and I remember the first time I think somebody mentioned Usyk's name, and Derek said, "Oh, I'll fight him." This, and I just said to Derek, I went, "You don't need that one, mate. You don't need that." That was my initial reaction, and that's something that is still in my gut. That's not the right fight for him. It's a big win if he pulls it off, so I understand where he's going. He's going to get paid really well, and it's a big win if he pulls it off. But at this stage of his career, he's got to have everything going right for him. For it, he's got the right. Has to have the right team. Has to have the right mentality. Has to do everything right for that fight, and then to be able to go in there and sustain it. Because things about your Usyks, your Lomachenkos, your fighters like that, like your Crawfords, people like that, is for the first few rounds you can be like that, and you're in the fight. The first few rounds, but then after about 6 rounds, then you start seeing the difference and the gulfing in ability, technical ability, class, everything. You start seeing that gulf, and they all seem to have that. They have that. Like I said, first few rounds, everyone think, "Oh, this is a good fight." They're in it, but they've got a gear that they go up. They've got a mentality where it doesn't change. You're working hard to stay in the fight, and they're just doing what they're doing, and then when they choose to, they start stepping things up. I just think it's a very, very tough fight for Derek. I'm not saying it's not a fight he can't win, because with that kind of power, if he lands, Usyk will know about it. And there is a difference between the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division, But I do think that we'll see a better Usyk this time than we did against Witherspoon.
It must have been very interesting, having watched Usyk through the amateurs, having had Tony put you on to Usyk, to then one day be fighting him. What was that like? Was there a part of you in the back of your mind thinking, we've watched this guy, we know how good this guy is? Or were you thinking, okay, despite knowing that, we've got all of this information, we've watched him for so long?
No, when you have a fight where you're up against something that's elite, you don't go, "Oh, fucking hell, we can't win this." You look at how... I look at positives and everything. There's something somewhere, and You look at how did this person catch him? How did this person take something away from him? And then you look at things. But then you look at your man, you think, what can he do? Because it's no good setting a game plan for somebody if they can't carry it out, if they're not that style, you know. So I'm no disrespect to Derek, but you can't get Derek to box like Tony did in that fight and look to try and counterpunch and look, you know. So that would you can't do that. So you have to look at your fight and look at how he's capable of doing that, and then setting up a game plan that fits him that will also capitalise on the opponent. But now with Tony, it's a fight. You have to look at each fight as it's a fight. You forget about the hype. You forget about everything. You know, I had it with Ryan Rhodes fighting Canelo. You know, but you still have to go with the best that your fighter's got and what he's capable of doing, and look to go in there against them. You know, it is what it is. You can't buy into all the hype and bullshit, because ultimately they're human beings, and ultimately they bleed, you know, and everyone can get knocked out, everyone can get beat. We've seen, this is the thing in boxing, we've seen some serious shocks in boxing, like earth-shattering shocks. People got Buster Douglas and people like that. Yeah, you know, how many people gave Fury a chance against Vladimir? Everybody's wise after an event, you know, but it's like with Bellew, hey, we got abused for even taking it. I was getting messages saying that I'm responsible for his life and I shouldn't be putting him in that position, rah rah. When he gets put in hospital, it's your fault. All that kind of fucking shit. So, you know, you can't buy into that. You have to have confidence in your own abilities as a fighter, the fighter that you've got. You have to have confidence in your own abilities as a coach. And you have to do what you do with conviction.
What did Derek say when you said to him, yeah, maybe not this one? I can't imagine he was like, yeah, you're right, Dave, yeah.
No, it was just like laughed. Yeah. But I know Derek. Derek will fight everybody. That's Derek's answer. He'll fight anyone. He'll fight King Kong. If King Kong were fucking climbing up a building, he'd want to, yeah, I'll fight him. He ain't that big.
Yes, because he's really far away, Derek. We're going to move on. We're going to do some little Q&A stuff.
Okay.
We had some.
You like surprising me.
I do like surprising you with stuff. Well, the thing is, for those of you who've watched the stuff I've done with Dave recently, we've done so many interviews. Not so many, but we've done a couple of interviews that have obviously been longer, and we've talked about a lot of stuff. So I thought, probably run out of things to ask you now, so I thought I'd ask other people if they had any questions.
Okay.
So that's what we've done. So we're going to come on to that afterwards, but before we go, a couple of fights I'd like to pick your nose on. Pick your ear on. I don't even know, is that even a word? Pick your brain. Sorry, it's very difficult getting up at, what time's I up this morning? 6 o'clock to come to Rotherham. It's cold in Rotherham. Anyway, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, they started their press tour, or they had their press conference yesterday. So, and it's a big fight, and it's really like, as soon as the year goes, it's suddenly on your doorstep. What do you make of that fight, the rematch?
Can't wait for it. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very, very tense, because you just don't know what's going to happen in that fight. The problem with any fight with Deontay Wilder is you can think that the other man can outbox him, because he can, and he might well be losing every minute of every round. But while ever he stood up on his legs, he can knock you out, and he's proven it. He can do that time and time again. He only needs one shot. 36 minutes is a long time not to get hit. Right from after the first fight, I fancy Fury to beat him. I really do. But then you just think, well, he's only got to land once. And I know he got up last time. Yeah, he got up last time. But if he gets caught with something like that earlier on, when Wilder's got full maximum power, because let's not forget, that's the 12th round he hit him without a shot with. You know, can he get through it? Can he get through it and not get caught again? I don't know. But Wilder's that bad in a perspective of, you know, several fighters can outbox him that you'd look at and you think, well, they shouldn't be. And Fury's a really good boxer. I just don't know. I can't, and it's sitting on a fence. I don't know. I fancy Fury to win, but then I think at some point Wilder's going to catch him. I do think that you'll see a better Fury than you did the first time around, because that was his first real fight back. You know, he'd had a couple of little warm-ups, and that was his first real fight. And part of the camp as well was getting his body into shape, and he doesn't have to worry about that now. He's kept himself in shape, lived like a fighter since then. He's been, you know, he's in great shape. But then you look at Fury against like Wallin and people like that, you think, oh. But then we've always done that. We've always looked at Fury in normal fights and thought, so beat him. And he gets the big fight and he pulls it off, or he performs. It's an intriguing fight. It's one of the most intriguing fights that I think we'll get this year. I just don't know. I think if Wilder comes out to try and outsmart or to be, you know, to pick his spots with Fury, I think Fury just outboxes him all night long. But I think if he comes out bombing, remember the old bomb squad type Wilder?
The Audley Harrison one.
Yeah. I think that's his best chance of winning the fight. You know, Ortiz is clever, but he's slow, and he was pissing that fight, absolutely pissing it. But then he get caught with one shot, and that's it. But Fury's clever, a lot faster than Ortiz, and awkward. But then they're talking about him going out. You know, obviously, I'll tell you this. Right, I'm very surprised that him and Ben Davison got split up. And he's got Sugar Hill's a good coach, knows boxing inside out. But I just feel, and it's hard because you're on outside looking in, so you don't see Sugar Hill and Tyson working. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know anything. So we're all, as a fan, we're all making assumptions on the outside. But with Ben Davison knows that style, the style that served him so well. And so that style, you look at it and you think it's getting better and better, and it's working. But he's going to a man talking about going out to knock Wilder out. You don't have to go out and knock Wilder out. If he's more set on going out there more conventionally to knock him out, then surely he's going to be in more positions where he can get hit himself. And Wilder only needs one shot. That's my worry.
I was about to come on to that. Obviously, we've spoken in this interview about kind of changing trainers and the dynamic changing when you go from trainer to trainer. Seems to me like 8 weeks before the biggest fight of your life may not be the ideal time to change trainer. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but is it only 8 weeks, or is it 8 weeks since we knew about it? You know, people. I'll go back to me and Fowler. People say, because he pops in the other day, I saw people tweet, you've only been left a couple of days. Yeah, I haven't seen him since before Christmas. Do you know what I mean? So it might be that where Tyson's been out in America doing the WWE stuff and stuff like that. Has he been working with Sugar Hill then? I don't know. Maybe not. But is it really 8 weeks? Or if it is 8 weeks, then yeah, it's a little bit close to the bone.
Do you think the kind of the talk and the rhetoric of him coming out to knock him out, and he's going to knock him out in 2 rounds, is that just gamesmanship from Tyson Fury? I mean, he's a sort of a self-styled master of the mind game.
I think so, because then again, it slows Wilder down, because then he's thinking he's going to reset himself. So it just takes that off, you know, a little bit of pace off of Wilder's intentions, puts that second thought process into Wilder's mind, which I think was a problem in his first fight. When Wilder goes out there trying to think about what he's going to do, trying to outbox you, I don't think it's very good. Then he lands his bomb and he knocks you out. But when Wilder goes out there to blast you, that's when he looks like fucking electric, and that's when you get the best out of him, I think. You know, in the rematches he's had before, he's gone out there to go out and get rid of you. He knows, he feels that he knows what you're about, he knows what he needs to do, and he goes out there to just get rid of you as quick as he can. That's when Wilder, you look at him, you think, fucking hell, he's scary. Maybe Fury, by saying that, makes Wilder just think, okay, let me just think about this a little bit more. If he thinks about it a little bit more, plays into Fury's hands. Maybe.
Okay, before we let you go, this question's just popped into my head, and we won't do it for the fan Q&A. Who is...
Selfish?
No, because I'm not a fan, so I can't do it. So who is the best heavyweight in the world under 26? Okay, who's the best young heavyweight in the world? Don't have to be under 26. I don't know who's who.
Fucking hell. So the best heavyweight prospect coming through. Do you know what? I'm not sure because he's not really fought anybody yet. He's not fought anyone yet. But the one that I'm most excited about, and I look at and I really like, and I think, fucking hell, because he mixes up, when he's in a flow of finishing you, or looking to finish you, he mixes them up between head and body really well. He's got a wicked jab, and he punches like fuck. And he can have it. He don't mind. He don't go into a show when he gets caught himself. Daniel Dubois. I really like the kid. I really like him. I think if they don't rush him, please God the Joyce fight happens, as a fan, I want that fight. That takes you back to when you were younger and you see domestic heavyweight fights that really mattered happening. That's a great fight from both. But it's the kind of fight they both need before they push on to higher levels. But as long as I don't want to see Dubois rushed into world level as such yet. Not major world level, maybe fringe world level, yeah. Do the Joyce fight. If you get through that one, then you've got your Europeans and European level sort of fighters and fringe world title fights, world level fighters before you're going into the big league. But I like the tools that he's got. I like everything about him. He's one that excites me. I like Hrgović. I do like him. I think he's a little bit stiff.
That old-fashioned European style.
He's the kind of guy that I just think, well, he's a little bit stiff, and somebody stepping in and coming through could nail him. So yeah, but I like Hrgović as well. But yeah, Dubois by miles really.
Okay, well,
What do you think?
I'd probably go with Dubois. Yeah, I like Hrgović as well. I'm pretty much exactly the same with you on Hrgović. I think he can be a little bit rigid at times. Yeah. Sometimes lacks a little bit of variation. Yeah. And I think if he goes through the levels, because he's somebody who is trying to get on with it. Obviously, he had the WSB and the long amateur background. So I think before he starts stepping up those levels, he probably wants a little bit more variety in his work. F.A. Ajagba, good as well. Nigerian heavyweight, unbeaten. Got dropped in his last fight, which was, as you know, sometimes a fighter getting dropped and showing that he can get off their ass and get the win is a good sign for a prospect. So yes, he's very good. But anyway, enough of my questions, Dave Coldwell. We're going to move on to some fan Q&A stuff now. But as always, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. And I will catch up with you, well, in a minute, but I'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, mate. I think.